This is PJNET.TV, and this is my perspective and comments. In this video segment of My Perspective and Comments, we cover politics, society here and abroad, and the events of the day that are shaping our nation. PJNET.TV, My Perspective and Comment, coming to you with a worldview, one nation under God. Welcome to My Perspective and Comments. And I'm going to start out like I have these 2+ years with the COVID update. But after this point here, when it comes to here on PJNET.TV, My Perspective and Comments, when it comes to COVID-19 right now, where we are now in the endemic stage, we're not going to be opening here with My Perspective and Comments with the COVID update. We've had enough with this reporting. But what I would like to at this point really acknowledge some of the individuals and people, doctors and journalists, commentators that have brought accurate and really crucial information that we have needed, that we haven't got from the mainstream media or these social media, big tech platforms that have been shadow banning and canceling and shutting down voices, authoritative voices, by the way, and keeping them silent because they did not correspond and bringing information, critical information that needed to get to the public, but it didn't fit with the mob mentality and their experts. And thousands, if not more, into the millions have died because of the misinformation that came from those that are on YouTube that are looking at this platform here, YouTube platform, or Twitter, or you name it. When it comes to these platforms, and squelching information that was needed so that people were informed, that there was an informed residents in the United States and in many places around the globe. So I want to, at this point, this will be the last official COVID update. We are at endemic stage, but I want to acknowledge those that have stood up and come to the forefront and had brought critical information. I know I had utilized that expertise, and there were people that actually put me in touch to where I could get the necessary drugs and necessary treatments, so I could be able to take prophylactically or therapeutically if I needed. And I'm so glad that we had these patriots that stood up against the mob that would silence them. So I'd like to acknowledge these reliable voices that have saved lives. And I'll start in the journalist commentator realm. I want to start with Steve Deace in the Blaze network and his I won't say cohort, but they are co-contributors when it comes to Steve Deace's program there on the Blaze TV. Daniel Horowitz, who is an editor and is on the CR network, and he has been pivotal, bringing the data, looking at the data around the globe, and giving us information that we could navigate with all the voices, the negative voices that we heard that were spouting out over this 2+ years. The usual culprits, Dr. Fauci, Valensky, Redfield, those voices. And I wanted to, at this point, really acknowledge these others. As I mentioned, Steve Deace, Daniel Horowitz. I want to talk about our frontline doctors and that have brought protocols that we could help those that were in trouble, those that were physically getting overwhelmed by COVID, and there was relief and support and life-changing protocols that saved many throughout this 2+ years. Dr. Peter McCullough, Dr. Ryan Cole, and I'm gonna leave it. They were pivotal, bringing they were part of the frontline doctors that brought protocols to help save lives, along with voices we heard, and Dr. Scott Atlas, who was that had come on board late with the Trump campaign to bring his expertise and the pushback that he saw firsthand from some of those other medical mob, the mentality that didn't agree with his observation, and there was a lot of pushback against Dr. Scott Atlas. But I want to highlight Dr. Scott Atlas, because he was at the forefront when this all began 2+ years ago. There was talking about we weren't going to turn, talking about vaccinating in the middle of a pandemic, and other areas that we needed to look at as a society here in the United States, and what we were doing with COVID-19. I also want to, again, a couple senators that I want to highlight. Senator Rand Paul, and he was very crucial in discrediting and bringing to light Dr. Fauci and his links and ties to the Wuhan lab that, we heard early on. If you said the Wuhan, this virus may have come out of the Wuhan, you were banned by YouTube. Again, YouTube playing this cancel game and shutting people down instead of free speech and getting the life-changing information out that people that have died now might have been saved, but we had the mob shutting down and canceling voices that should not have been canceled. I also want to make acknowledgement for Senator Ron Johnson, and I give him kudos for what he did over this last year, especially where he gave voice to those that were voiceless, that were medically damaged by these vaccines, and he gave voice to those and brought in experts that were talking about what has taken place and these illnesses that we're seeing right now. Right now, as of today, there's more and more studies coming out of the injured from these vaccines. There's more and more information coming out about your immune system. Your body's immune system that may be affected by these vaccines. And I want to just give acknowledgement to Ron Johnson for bringing voice and bringing the collective patriot doctors together that have brought information that America and the world needed to hear. So I just want to give a shout out to Senator Ron Johnson and thank him for standing up against the mob. And he took a hit for bringing light into this darkened area when it comes to COVID-19, because if you didn't follow the liberal crazy leaning narrative. Everybody had to get a jab, and now they're going after our kids. Then you were canceled and shut down. But I want to stand up and acknowledge these individuals that came forward, and I want to just make a note of those that really looked at the numbers and got the people that were looking at data, not the political data, but the scientific data, and looking at the numbers and saying, wait a minute, this doesn't line up, and bringing light in that area. So again, when it comes to COVID-19 updates, this will be, this will be from my perspective and comment. We won't be delving into that unless it falls into my perspective and something that we need to talk about. But at this point, I had mentioned, Rand Paul, and I want to leave us with take a look here at Rand Paul once again. Bringing some truth around COVID-19 and what we have, what we have gone through here, and what we still. We still are hearing from Dr. Fauci, but let's hear from Rand Paul. Take a look.